Hi there. Welcome. I know I'm here before you, but you can hear me from now on, so it doesn't really matter. There's a little bit of delay on Facebook, which gets to be annoying sometimes. But let me know when you're here so I can tell that I'm not just talking to myself. And we are going to make a card tonight. This is Monday, Let's Make a Card night. And I've had a request to do something with vellum. So vellum it is. We're going to work on that tonight. It is a simple card, but sometimes the materials that you use make it not quite so simple. So if you're here, I'm just double checking to make sure that it looks right for you. Hey Penny, welcome. Good.
So we're going to work on that
Whoops.
tonight. It is a simple.
Now I can hear myself and hear me twice, so that works good. How are you? Hey Shelley, Rosemary, welcome ladies. Okay, well, Kathy asked to have some tricks on what to work with vellum, and I thought I would show you a few of them and then we'll actually make a card. Hey Sharon. So let's get started. First of all, what is vellum? Vellum is this really gauzy looking cardstock. Stampin' Up! Makes it in a cardstock version. You can buy vellum in lots of different places. Hey Debbie, welcome. Glad to see you. Haven't seen you in forever. Hi Vicki. First things first, if you share this, you will be entered to win. I pick two. Oh, thanks. I like my sign. I picked two winners from each live, and they receive a packet in the mail that includes two make and share kits. And a make and share kit was going to have a good one here, but I don't. I just have one. But here's an example. And they don't necessarily go along with the class that you got picked in, but it's a card that's ready to go. So it has an envelope. And there's two of each. So it'll have a card base. It will have whoops. This is just an example, okay? So don't think, well, I didn't get that. It'll have a card base. It'll have an envelope. It will have a piece, potentially, punched out already. It will have another layer. So basically, you could just pop this card together, put all your adhesives. Hey, Patty. Put all your adhesive on, add your stamp set, and your card would be ready to go. You can surely do lots more, but you get two of those in the make and share kit. And I'm calling them make and share because we don't want to just make these cards and then pile them up. We want to share them and send them out. So I picked two lucky winners in each class. All you have to do is share this video down at the bottom and hit share. Okay, enough of the business. Now, if you're trying to find where the recordings are, or where the sketches are, or where the supply list is that I used, I usually put them in next to the video in Facebook too. But if you're enrolled, if you go to karamiller.com and click on Classroom and then click on the Lucy class, you can be enrolled in my classroom that has everything I've done this year. All of 2018 is in one spot. So it makes it much easier to find everything. You're not flipping through Facebook or trying to find it. So you might want to make sure. Penny, you want the deer? Yours went out today, Penny, and I don't think it had the deer in it. I don't remember, to be exact. Okay, so this is what you can do, and this is an experiment too, with the vellum. So we're going to experiment first, and then we're actually going to make a card. So vellum comes in a pack like this, 8.5 by 11, and there are 20 sheets in here. So there's a lot to work with. You don't need a lot. And this is just a little piece, and I'm going to work with this little piece till we see what we want to do with it. A couple things. Penny, maybe you'll win another time and then you'll get the deer. You never know. The hard part is it's tough to see with this on here, so I'll keep picking it up. Actually, I'm going to put this down. I did some experiments earlier and I wanted to show you. Remember this week's product of the week, and I pick one every week that you might not have noticed or you might have missed. It's this adorable little elephant, and he comes with a punch set in the bundle, and it's an elephant punch, of course. That's what it would be. Let me just get over here so I can show it to you. Where's my little elephant? That sounded really whiny, sorry. Oh, he's right here. Goodness. And Thursday night, we're going to make this box. Okay. This is the punch set. So it comes with the punch and the stamp set. But I used the elephant tonight just so that you could kind of see how a regular stamp set would work. So this is done on the vellum. This is done with just our regular pool party. And if you look really close, let me get it over here. You can see that it gets kind of blotchy looking. That's the ink, and that's how it dries on vellum. Okay, but not awesome. It looks better on the other side, so if you stamp it on the back side of your vellum, you get a different look. This is done by stamping with that same elephant, using the same pool party, and white embossing powder on top of it. Now, you're thinking, wait, don't we use Versamark to heat emboss? You do. But you can also use your ink if you're quick so that you can get color when you're working with vellum because it takes a longer time to dry. So this is Pool Party with clear embossing powder on it. There it is. Can you see that? Right? Okay, so let's play with this a little. These I did earlier. It takes longer to dry. So let me come back to my little piece of vellum and my elephant, which is here somewhere. And I'm going to use the Pool Party. Oops, I want to zoom back out so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use the Pool Party, and it takes, well, let me show you how long it takes. So we ink it up. And see how it kind of just, it pools up on top. It doesn't really dry. It leaves that kind of funny looking, it just doesn't look as good as you'd want it to look. So let's try this. Let's stamp, air ink, stamp off, and stamp again. And it's really kind of hard to see, but it would work. But notice this guy is still wet, which is why I have my embossing tool here, my heat tool. If you remember when we talked about it, the heat tool has two settings. One is for vellum and one is for regular. So when you click it once, it's a lower temp, and then there's a higher temp. Vellum is a more delicate material, so you want to be careful with it. Kathy, yes, StazOn is what you're going to use if you just want to stamp. If you don't want to do any heat embossing and you just want to stamp it, let's see what the StazOn looks like. And this is not what I normally do in my lives. This is more what we do in class, but I wanted to show you what classes are like and that we experiment. I answer questions, a lot more feedback normally in a class. So here's our StazOn. Make sure he's all inked up. See those cute, great lines? All right, so let's put him right here. And he dries better. I'm going to get a bigger piece. And you can see that it's kind of wobbly. So let's do one more thing since we're experimenting here. And I'm going to use the Stamparatus. So there's no wobble from my hand. And I don't need my foam pad because this is a clear mount stamp. And we're going to pop this in here. And we're going to ink him up. And bring him over. And I can actually get a much better image using the StazOn, or using the Stamparatus and the StazOn. Can you see it? It looks still wet, so I have to be careful not to touch it, but you get a much better image with this, okay? All right, so there's that. Let me show you what I like, and that's using our heat embossing and coloring. It looks so pretty, and that's where this card, nope, not that card. This card came from. There is not a right or wrong side, no. But I often stamp on one side and color on the other so that the coloring shows through, and that's what we're going to do with this. This has some experiments on it too. So first thing we're going to do is cut our sizes. And I am using this really pretty, these are silver foil. They come 20 in a pack, and they have these envelopes, great envelopes that coordinate with them. They come with the foil already on them. They're silver and gold. Love them. All right. So I could just go right straight on to here and not worry. I'm going to show you what I did though, is I wanted this to have a little more stability because just adding vellum to it, it still seems kind of wobbly. It's not as heavy as I'd like it to be. So what I did was take a piece of Whisper White, cut it the same size as my vellum, and backed it and attached my vellum to the Whisper White so that, for example, my ribbon could go under there and hold it in place. Again, this is an experiment. This isn't one that I'm going to ever send out. It was because I did multiple different things, but I want to show you. All right, so here's my card. I need 3 3/4 by 5 of vellum and 3 3/4 by 5 of what, Whisper White. And here's the vellum. And you can see it fits right nicely in there. I don't have to do the Whisper White. I could leave it just like this. In fact, let's not do it, and then I'll show you what it looks like, and you can decide what you think. All right, so let's get this little elephant. Don't be distracted by him. Debbie, you want that one? Maybe I'll send it and see who gets the surprise. It's actually not ugly. It's just I experimented with the coloring. All right, so vellum, Versamark. This stamp set that I'm using just really lends itself well to it is the Beautiful Day one. This is from the annual catalog. We've had this one for a while, and I still love it. It's got the rose or the butterfly. Always thinking of you, and happy birthday. May your day be as beautiful as you. It's just a really great stamp set. Love that. Oh, did you notice what's over here? Let me just pop this out and show you. This is a pack of paper called Graceful Glass, I think it is. And it's this printed vellum. It's amazing for coloring. Comes in a 6x6 in all these different designs. This is in the annual catalog too, right? So don't forget this. We actually haven't used this that much because in class it's tough to show this much coloring, but this is really pretty. So 6x6, it comes just like this in this pack. You could sit and color all day. All right, so I'm done talking about that. Let's go back to our butterfly and our Versamark. First things first though, when you're working with vellum, you want to use your embossing buddy because it just will stop the powder from sticking everywhere and cause it to stick just on the Versamark, particularly with vellum. I'm worried that this crazy little elephant here is going to make you crazy. Let me do this. There, he's under there now. Okay. So while I'm doing this, let me tell you something else. And I posted it on Facebook and I told some students, but I am starting in 2016, 2019, gosh, I'm going back 3 years. In 2019, I am decided to change up the way that I offer my classes. Yes, you could use Stampin' Up! Markers too. You could use Stampin' Up! Markers. I'm actually using the blends, but you could use markers. We'll get to that, Kath. You could use markers. You could use your blender pen. We've got lots of options. So I'm inking this up with my Versamark. And then I'm going to put this right down in the middle. And you're not going to see a darn thing. You're going to think, well, that's not pretty. I don't see anything. I'm going to see if I can show it to you a little on an angle. Can you see? Ooh, yeah, there it is. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to take the white powder and I'm going to sprinkle this. So anyway, my 2019 classes are not going to be for sale necessarily. They are going to be free with a Stampin' Up! Purchase. There will be 3 in a month. They will be presented live, not recorded. Depending on the size of the order, depends on how many classes you can come to. You can order more than once. You can pick out your favorite and choose which one you want. I will announce it all at the beginning of the month or the end of the month before and tell you what it is. So this just has the white embossing powder on it. So you want to make sure that you are, if you are not checking in on Facebook often, I'll definitely tell you what they are on Mondays and Thursdays, so don't miss these. I will also, if you are not in my mailing list, you should definitely do that. If you are enrolled in the 2018 classes, I usually email that group too so that they know. Okay. But I've decided that I think that'll be a better way for you to get the most classes. So still, Monday, Thursday night, free on Facebook. Don't have to do a single thing. If you want them more detailed, more time-consuming, more project-oriented, then you're going to want to be in a class, which means you're going to need product, and then you can have the class. Super easy. Okay, I'm going to turn this on first. Let it heat up before I bring it on to my vellum. And then this does go pretty quickly. Remember, I love heat embossing. And I'm just going to hold it right on here. And you'll see it start to get glossy. Keeping it in the camera angle is not always the best. Oh, there it goes. And I have it on low heat so that my vellum is happier. Come on, little vellum. If you're impatient, you can always turn it up faster. I'm impatient tonight. I just don't want this. Normally, I just take my time, but I want to get this done so we're not here all night. I'm going to do it on the back side in a minute, Karen, but you don't have to. I do it on the front, and then I'm going to flip it over and do it on the back too to make sure that there's no curl to my paper. There. Okay, so this is all, I'm trying to get it so you can see the shiny. Can you see that it's shiny now? You can't really see, but it is, trust me. Okay, so now I like turning it over on the and coloring on the back. Let me look at this one and you can see why. See, this kind of looks like stain on the white. I colored on the front side, and if you get just a little bit on your embossing, no, it didn't. Using the lower heat helps, and moving it around. Don't just hold it in one place. And the Stampin' Up! Vellum is a heavier weight than some of the other vellum that you might find in the stores. If you color it on the back, then you don't get the stain. See that? All right, so I'm going to use a couple different things on the back. This is Pool Party. This is dark, this is light. When you do it, it doesn't really show all that much. Oh, Kathy wants to see what DSP would look like. This is Christmas, but yep, it would look really pretty. This just is amazing. You know what I mean? Look, a darker color. I love the vellum. Love it, love it. It just makes it super elegant and steps up the whole game. All right. This is the lighter one, and I'm going to use the, not the bullet tip, the other one. What's nice about flipping it over, you can just color and not worry about staying in the lines or going on top of it. You don't have to be super careful. You don't want to go outside the outside line, but you don't have to worry about coloring each one of those little places. And then when you flip it over, see how pretty that looks? Now what if you don't have that blend? Oh, notice that you need to let it dry. Don't be in a rush. It does take longer for the inks to dry on here. The alcohol inks of the blends dry pretty quickly, but it does take a little bit longer. Than it doesn't absorb into the paper the way Whisper White does. If you don't have blends, you can use your blender pen and your ink. Pick up a little bit in the corner. And let's color, same Pool Party, down here. So if you haven't collected blends that you Stampin' Blends for what you want to use, your inks will work with your blender pen. All right. To clean this, and then let's see what we've got. Again, it's going to take a little bit of time to dry. You can't, it's kind of tough to tell which one is which. All right, now let's grab a marker. Which is over here. And let's grab a pool party. And we're going to flip you over. And I'm using the same color so that you can see how these look. This is done with a marker. The other thing you can do with these is you have a little bit of time, you can kind of blend this with your finger, which will get rid of any lines. You end up with a blue finger. You have a little bit more time with the markers than you do the alcohol markers. Those tend to dry faster and don't blend quite the same. All right, so you can do that. All right. So now flip this little baby over. Other than the markers are a little bit darker, but you really can use either one, okay? Right? All right, so then, okay, now I got this great butterfly. How am I gonna get this butterfly to stick where I want it to stick? Oh, and your sentiment, you can put that on. I used the heat embossing on this one, but you can use your StazOn. If you don't want that and you want a lighter ink, you can. You just have to let it dry. It's going to take a little bit longer. I know, I did, Debbie, look. I got all inky. Right? And I guess I'm okay. Now I could stamp this on a title, you know, on a strip of paper and put it on top, or I can stamp it right straight onto the vellum. Now it has to dry a little bit, but it's really pretty. Okay, so there's that, right? I love it. All right, so now we got to get it onto the front of our card. So if I just take my snail, you're going to see the snail through it. That's the problem, right? It's vellum, it's beautiful, but you can see through it. So what I'm going to use is my tool and a glue dot. Could I color on the cardstock and then put the vellum over it? Is that what you're asking? Sure. You could stamp straight on. I could stamp, oh, for my sentiment? Yes, I could stamp that underneath it. Right? Yep, that would work really well too. So I'm going to take a glue dot and I'm going to put it just in the top corner. Nice and tiny, just these are the mini glue dots. Right, put the sentiment on the cardstock. Yep, you could do that. In each corner. And then I'm going to put this down. And yes, you can see the glue dot. If you look really close, you can see it, right? You're thinking, nah, I don't really like the glue dot showing through. That's where I put a piece of ribbon over the top to hide it, so you can hide it under an element. Patty, you know, I don't really know. It's paper. It's just a really thin, like onion skin. Remember that paper? It's just like tissue, but it's got more body. But it's paper. I'm sure there's some scientific something. So let's say I don't really like that. I could take my sequins, which I've lost in my little shuffle here. Where'd my sequins go? I don't think I have the same color sequins out, but that's okay. Here's something that will work. I could take a sequin and just pick that up and put it right on top. I could use brads. I could use a staple. The sequin doesn't really show. Whoops, then doesn't show what's underneath it, right? If I wanted to make it look not quite so noticeable, I could put 2 or 3 in a corner. The pearls are really pretty. Penny, there's plastic in it? Really? That could be. The pearls look great to cover it. So any kind of little tiny embellishment would work. Now, you really can't tell the difference. Let me zoom back out. Of this one or this one. This one I put that extra piece of white under it, but I could have put a color under it and that changes it too. So let's just grab, now that doesn't really show the coloring that I did, right? I love this pastel, but you know the subtles are my favorite, so I love that. It isn't really going to go anywhere. You don't necessarily have to put adhesive down here. You could, but it really isn't going to go anywhere, and having it flap isn't awful. I want to show you, I tucked under this one, I put it under the sentiment. You can't see it. So let me do it under this one while you're watching me and see if you can find it. So I take another one of these mini glue dots, and lift this up, and I'm going to put it in the middle of. Get down there. Okay. And now really, even if you get super close, I guess you can sort of see it, but you could tuck it under there and get away with it. Let's tuck one under this corner of the butterfly and see what that looks like. These glue dots are so small and so flat. It's under the corner of the butterfly. You really can't see it. Okay? So I say the best solution for working with vellum, I am using this super awesome, cute tool. Oh, it has a good name. Someone tell me what it is. Let me see if I can find it for you quickly. The pickup tool? Take it tool? It has a really cute name. What's it called? Wait a minute. I can tell you. Take your pick. I knew it had a cool name. Take your pick. It's awesome. It has this little pointy thing at the bottom. It has this, at this end, is a dab of putty. So it helps pick up things that you, like it'll pick up a piece of stencil or a tiny little cup from your Big Shot. It'll pick that up. It'll pick up vellum. It's a pokey thing, I know, but I never remember its name. It is called the Take Your Pick. And the reason it says that is there's 2 other picks that you can replace. It comes with this whole collection of items. Comes with a refill on this, but it comes with a scoring tip. So it really is a multi-purpose tool that you can use for lots of different things. I love this pokey thing though. And it's big enough that I don't lose it. And this pokey thing isn't as detailed. And the other end is a spatula, which is really great for picking up things too. So you could pick up this, right, and carry it over. Yep. See? Okay. Yeah. Take your pick. Take your pick. I should remember this name. I just don't. So lots of things to play with on it. And it's big enough that I don't lose it. That's why I like it. Okay. What else do I want to show you? I think that was it tonight, guys. I just wanted you to see all these different options. This was more of an experimental class rather than a finished project, although I really do like this one. So I'll pick 2 winners. You will get, tonight's winners will get the silver foil card with the foil envelope. You will get a piece of vellum. And you will also get a piece of Designer Series paper, and you'll get 2 sets of that. So you want to be the winner tonight. All right, everybody, have a really great Monday, and I'll see you back Thursday. I know I love vellum too. All right, so remember how this is going to work in 2019. You place your order. If you're for a $40 order, you get to pick any of the 3 classes that you want. In the class, you will get, in the mail, you'll get 2 make and share kits. You will get 4 cards in the class, plus a box, plus an item, a bag or a 3D item, depends on what it is. I'll work with 1 stamp set and 1 Thinlit, so it will be a bundle that we'll work with. It'll be one of the new bundles. The rest of it, I will give you an order, a supply list, and if you want to order them, you can. If you want to work with what you already have, that's fine too. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to order what's in the class. You just have to place an order. Okay? If you place 2 orders, you can pick 2 classes. Or if you place 1 big order, you can pick all 3. So lots of variety and lots of ways to get different classes in, as well as remember, Mondays and Thursdays, we're always here. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye.